Hi, I'm Eric Ode. Welcome to the Poetry Workshop. I am glad you're here. Have you ever read a poem and it made you wonder who wrote the poem, made you wonder where that poet got their good ideas? Or have you ever read a poem and it just made you really happy, or maybe made you laugh out loud, or maybe it made you look at things in a different way? Well, here in the Poetry Workshop, we are going to be writing poems together, you and me. And I hope by doing that, what it will do is it will help you give yourself some good ideas for when you want to write your next poem on your own. And for today's poem, I have a really good place where I'd like us to start. Here's what happened. Just the other day, I was working in my backyard, and as I was looking around, I saw something that made me very happy, got me very excited, and I hurried inside. I grabbed my camera so that I could share it with you. Here, take a look. This is what I got to see. Now you can see what we're looking at, right? That's a birdhouse out in my backyard. And watch carefully. There, did you see that? Yeah, that was a chickadee. That kind of a bird. That's called a chickadee, who just flew out of that old little wooden house. Now you have to be a little patient, but of course poets know how to be patient. They know how to watch, and they know how to wait. They wait for a few ideas to come around. There, and that chickadee came back in. Or maybe that's a different bird. I think that's maybe a second bird. I think they're all partnered up, and they are looking for a new place for a home. Let's see if that one comes back out again. There you go. So you probably already figured out why I wanted to share that video with you. I figured that's a pretty good starting spot for a poem, don't you think? You can write a poem about just about anything, but I figured two chickadees who are out looking for a new home and are flying in and out of a birdhouse, that's a pretty good starting spot right there. So I shared that little video with some friends online, and I shared it with some kids, and I asked them to give me some ideas, some words that they thought about while they watched the video, some questions that they might have, and let me share with you some of my favorites. Marin talked about, she said it was noisy but peaceful, and she noticed it was green and messy. Yeah, that's true. And then Lily said chirping, chirping in and out, flitting high about. And I like that Lily is already working on a little rhyme pattern there. And Nathaniel said, that bird is small enough to fit in that hole, which is really something because it's a pretty small hole. And then Isabella said, nature tweeting, which I love that phrase a lot, nature tweeting. And then Brooklyn, she said, beautiful and alive woods. And Kylie knew the phrase, birds of a feather flock together. And George talked about nature and light. Robert said, how do they fit in there? That's a good question, Robert. And Tavin and Archer both talked about tweeting. They talked about howling wind, and they talked about swaying branches. And Ben talked about, he said, fluently, quickly, and purposefully. Purposefully is probably a really good word, considering that those birds are looking for a place to build their nest. And he asked the question, what is going on inside that box? And then Ren said, quickly, excited. And he asked the question, what are the birds saying? And we might have to think about that. Maybe it would be fun to kind of have a little conversation going with the birds. Patton said, calm, fast, and fly. Colin said, the noise is beautiful. And then Toby said, swiftly and alight. Those are some of the words that were given to me for that we might use as sort of an idea bank to get started. So I've got my whiteboard here, and I think we should just jump in. And maybe the best place to start, well, again, they're chickadees, and I noticed, I love that line, nature tweeting. I wonder if we're going to use that toward the end, or should we use that at the beginning? Nature. Let's use it at the beginning and see what happens. We're going to say, and I'm going to use nature is. So we're going to say nature is tweeting. I like that beginning. And let's see, we had swaying branch. Let's see, how about in, let's see, in the swaying branches. Oh, let's see, we had, let's see, two chickadees. And what was that line that we had there about our flitting? Let's see, two chickadees flit high about. These are called line breaks, by the way. We could have kept going here. Two chickadees fly, but I like breaking it here. Two chickadees flit high about. And let's see, how about in a small wooden home, they fly in and out. Now we have that rhyme, about and out. And of course, poems don't have to rhyme, but in this case, it sort of feels good, doesn't it? Let's see what we have so far. We have nature is tweeting. In the swaying branches, two chickadees flit high about. In a small wooden home, they fly in and out. And then somebody said, well, we were talking about chirping. And I like that chirping and chickadees both start with that ch sound. You hear that? That's called alliteration. If we use that together, so let's try something. How about in a small wooden home, they fly in and out. Let's make this a comma. We'll say maybe, how about chittering? I like that word, chittering and chattering. Now we've got a lot of alliteration going on in here. Chittering and chattering. And what was the line again? Chirping. Chittering and chattering. How about chirping in their chickadee voices? Let's try that. So here's what we have so far. We've got nature is tweeting. In the swaying branches, two chickadees flit high about. In a small wooden home, they fly in and out, chittering and chattering, chirping in their chickadee voices. And what were they were? Oh, you know what? We were talking about that. Maybe what they're doing is they're trying to decide if that home is the right home for them, and since we were using rhyme before, let's use one more rhyme in their chickadee voices, because somebody who asked us what are the birds saying, and that was Ren. He said, what are the birds saying? Let's go ahead and let them say something. How about says one, we'll say, what do you think? Ooh, I'm running out of room. Says the other. Maybe I better bring it down here. An excellent choice. And I thought it'd be fun to use choice here because I noticed that voices and choice, they almost rhyme. They are a near rhyme. Well, let's read the whole thing again. Let's see what we have now. We have nature is tweeting. In the swaying branches, two chickadees flit high about. In a small wooden home, they fly in and out, chittering and chattering, chirping in their chickadee voices. Says one, what do you think? Says the other, an excellent choice. That works pretty well. I think the only thing that's bothering me right now is we have two lines that start with the in. Did you notice that? Nature is tweeting in the swaying branches, and then I have in a small. So let's change nature is tweeting how about if we use high? Let's try this. So we're going to change this to high in the, can we do that? Here we'll say high in the swaying branches, two chickadees flit high about. And then how about instead of in, let's try, how about from? Will that work? From a small wooden home. Okay, let's try once more. Now we have nature is tweeting, high in the swaying branches, two chickadees flit high about. Now I've got high twice. I don't think I like that. Nature is tweeting, high in the swaying branches, two chickadees flit. Let's just get rid of this high. Let's just take that one out and see how that feels. Otherwise we had high and high. Did you notice that? That felt a little odd to me. Nature is tweeting, high in the swaying branches, two chickadees flit about. From a small wooden home they fly in and out, chittering and chattering, chirping in their chickadee voices. Says one, what do you think? Says the other, an excellent choice. Hey, I think that'll work. We need a title, don't we? I don't know. How about we'll call it house hunting? Let's try that. House hunting. Maybe you have a better title in mind, but I think that will work for now. House hunting. Well, here's what I'll do. Let me type this all up, and I'll put it up on the screen for you, and we'll see how it sits all together. Good enough?
House hunting. Nature is tweeting. High in the swaying branches, two chickadees flit about. From a small wooden home, they fly in and out, chittering and chattering, chirping in their chickadee voices. Says one, what do you think? Says the other, an excellent choice.
Well, I guess that's going to do it for today. Hey, thanks so much for stopping by the Poetry Workshop. I would love to get together with you again real soon. We'll dive into another poetry writing project. In the meantime, grab a notebook, grab a pen or a pencil, and get busy writing. The world is filled with really good ideas waiting to be discovered, waiting to be uncovered. So happy writing, my friend, and I will see you soon.